At the how? At the how? Like a judiciary.
Once you do things based on equity and justice. It's even enshrined in our constitution, for example, where we talk about national character, everything. Once you do things based on that, you will see it. Once you show, of course, we're going to start where we're going to happen. For example, I've always emphasized my target is the vast land in the north. I want to start pulling people out of poverty in the north. That's it, and I do so aggressively. I've always said we're going to make sure we capitalize and deal with the Bank of Agriculture, which is based in Kaduna. There's quite a number of things you start doing, and you see there's no other way to do it than equity, justice in all your dealings.
So the second part of that question was whether you would be willing
we maintain that we're going to form government of national unity.
Okay. So if you don't win and somebody else wins and they invite you, would you join a government of national unity?
Why not? It's not inviting me that is the problem. I've always said it. You work with other, you show that you're working with everybody. For example, somebody asked me that earlier today, and I said, at my stage in life, there's little or nothing I'm looking for in the sense of we're not looking for a job. But of course, why wouldn't I? It's my country. Even now that I'm not in office, I still at all times defending various issues with regards to Nigeria. So we will, if we win, our government will be government of national unity, but it must be focused on youth and women. Okay. Women and youth.
And we have specific questions about that, which I'll come to in a minute, sent to us by women group.
Thank you.
Some of them. But before I leave you and go back to Dr. Baba Ahmed, there is a sort of a slightly related question. Somebody in the audience talked about the attack on Governor Soludo's home state and asked you your position around ESN.
Well, people...
And I want to piggyback off that and ask you specifically what you make of the agitation in the East, specifically your position on IPOB and ESN.
Everybody knows my position on agitation. I've said I'll dialogue and discuss with all agitators. Everybody, everywhere in the country is full of agitation. It is the accumulative effect of leadership failure over the years. There's nothing wrong in agitation. You dialogue and discuss with everybody.
But what about the attacks and the killings?
That's what I'm saying. That what is said have no relation. And Soludo has taken a position of Soludo and said, he's my governor, he's my senior brother, and we're very close. What he said is his opinion. You cannot attack people for expressing their opinion. Otherwise, you'll be attacking everybody on the road every day. You know how many people that tell me every day, you don't know what you're doing. I would have attacked you, sir.
Yeah.
If I'm doing that. Everybody's telling me they don't have. So I have never knowingly, Peter, knowingly, they use a bad language.
So would you condemn ESN now for all the attacks we've seen?
I cannot condemn you, but I'm not sure who is doing what. You can't just come and be condemning people until somebody says, hey, wait a minute, how can I go? Every day, let me tell you, people talk about things. You can only condemn people when there's a process which have said, oh, this person has done this.
So you don't believe Nigerian security services when INEC offices are attacked, when people are being killed? The late Dora Akunyili lost her husband, and they say it is ESN. You don't believe it?
Let me tell you, I personally, single-handedly, left Lagos without any single security, took first flight to Owerri, drove to Gidi police station to retrieve the body of Tika Akinyele. Nobody did. I single-handedly, when I heard it, and everybody knows, I was the last person to visit Dora Akunyele, a hospital in India, before she died. I'm very close to Dora and the family. Everybody knows. So I can tell you what happened to Dr. Chika Akunyele. Nobody can say is this person or that person? Ikakuro was just trying to drive back to Enugu, ran into people who were robbing and doing lots of things. And other things which nobody can explain. Even where he was trying to say, no, stop this, no, stop that, of course he was shocked. But you see, whenever things like that happen, people speculate all sorts of things and everything. Engineers where people just
because there is a research that has shown a direct correlation between the announcement of the formation.
There's no
research. There is research. There is research that has shown a correlation between the announcement of the formation of ESN, some of the utterances of Nnamdi Kanu about take their guns, shoot their guns, and the spike in violence. People are saying if a witch is crying at night and you wake up in the morning, a baby has died.
There is no.
Okay, so
I have about 10 messages here.
Yes.
Saying I should not come to your program.
I know.
That you're totally against me.
I know.
And I told them, I said, I want to think people who are against me.
I know. What they do?
Because if I take all those witches,
No, I'm sorry.
I want to see the witch before I call it witch.
Beautiful people. No, what it is that if people tell you not to come and answer questions that have been asked freely, then they are not ready for you to become.
That's what I tell them. Everybody like you.
Because you see, it's not just Kadariah saying these things. Every candidate who comes here, I put to them the things that are being discussed on social media and in the public space. And it is in their interest to answer Nigerians. So that's why you said yes.
You know what I tell
And
them?
I'm happy you said yes.
I said my sister, go there.
Thank you.
You know, and I believe you.
I'm grateful.
Sister.
Let me move to the questions for Dr. Baba Ahmed. You were asked about your position on education, given the fact that you own a private university, and whether, as vice president, your government will have some sort of clash when it comes to dealing with ASU, who represent teachers in public universities that are government-owned, versus sort of you, who sort of make money from educating people.
I don't make money from educating people. I make a career out of educating people.
Right. Please explain. Your school is not free, is it?
Then existing data, which is verifiable, my friend is welcome to see. There is no correlation with the length of time and the number of students in federal universities and state universities out of the classrooms and our enrollment. We happen to be completely in different market segments. So there is absolutely no clash of interest between my humble self acting in the capacity of a vice president and how private and public universities are run.
How would you bring your knowledge of education?
Where contradiction will be is while somebody like me will be vice president and ASU would ever go on strike.
Okay, so here is the question.
I would like to do,
yes,
with the kind permission of Mr. President, is the way he says he wants to sit down and dialogue with agitating groups. While he's doing that, I would like another group to quickly sit with ASU and extract a commitment that in that 4-year period, they will not go on strike.
Okay.
So please, there is actually no link between the interest of well-run private university and how ASU goes on strike. In fact, I was most pained all the time for those 8 months. I just cannot believe the billions of naira in the Nigerian university system were allowed to waste.
Okay, let's dig deeper a little bit into something you inferred in answering that question, which is that your knowledge of the way education works will come to bear in the way you solve the issues of tertiary education. Talk to us a little bit about what your plan would be for higher education in Nigeria, and then if we have time, you go into foundational education as well. How are you going to improve education given where it is at the moment?
There is something generic. Permit me to use this analogy of the DNA that composes the cell, that composes the organ, that composes the system of an organism. You see, in the DNA of governance is that function of procurement. You procure security, you procure works, you procure education, you procure healthcare, and where you're not efficient in doing that, all hell will let loose. So there is a generic answer to the specific question you are giving me, and which is bringing us to the systems level I always speak about. If I speak about procurement, it touches education, it touches security, and everything else. So every naira spent in the education sector, and for that matter, any other government function, we are trying to run a government that will extract the fullest value for all amounts spent. That is what we're about. This is the first way to deliver good governance. We will not spend money carelessly in such a way that 90% goes to personal, political, and group interest.
What I'm interested in trying to find out from you and Dr. Baba
Allow me to
Ahmed
finish answering your question.
Okay, but there are people
The
waiting.
moment money spent on education goes 100% in providing the infrastructure, the equipment, the welfare of personnel and the students, you are retaining 100% of your resources. This is what we stand for. Over and above that, you come to systems, procedures, and practices. And these are places where you have a little tweaking to do. The curricula will go into international best practices, like the best courses that will bring us out of consumption to production. Recently, I was pained to hear that a very noble profession was being rubbished by someone who's aspiring to high office. You see, the production of water is life. Water saves life.
And maybe we can relate that to the question on climate change.
Let me finish. And you see, we are looking at areas where you would introduce new courses, clean energy, waste management.
And I really want to dive into them, right? But look at our time.
Important question.
I am.
And you are asking questions that mean a lot to us.
Yes, I understand.
So I can take the whole of my energy, the whole of tonight, speaking to you about education.
We don't have tonight. Sadly, we have only... you know that song, Give Me Tonight. We don't have tonight. We only have a few minutes. The reason I want is that there's another question somebody asked on climate change.
Yeah.
And since you're talking about water and water being life, I thought Mr. Obi could use that as his launching pad to talk about your position on climate change, on the environment, on what we're seeing happening. And then we will go to our remote locations and come back and talk about energy and energy transition. How about that?
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Raising. Okay.
Okay, well, for climate change, first now, we will do everything possible to follow the protocol.
Right.
Because there's already an agreement which Nigeria is signatory to. So what it is to, within that agreement, if accepted, you do everything possible to follow the protocol. Where it is impossible, we will be able to navigate and communicate effectively. But if you look at some of these, let me just use the issue of like this flooding issue, the one we're facing today.
Yeah.
It's over the years, it's something that is well. Over the years, the contract and everything that been awarded to dredge and desil the Niger and River Bay. If you have been doing that, One, you have a means of water transportation which is greatly missing today. A lot of your cargoes and allowing trucks on your road and damaging your roads and all that. If you've been doing that, you have enough to take in the flooding that would be, or even channeling the water, building dams. When we talk about agriculture and irrigation that is happening in the north, you have water to channel there, and dredging that should not be difficult. Today, everybody knows that in Egypt they say no Nile, no Egypt. Egypt have maintained the Nile in terms of hedging, filtering, making it become a good piece of transportation and everything. And if Egypt can do it, Nigeria can do it. In Nile, everybody knows, is over 1,000 longer, 1,000 kilometers longer than River Niger and River Benue put together. Nile is 6,000, each one is 50 kilometers long, while Niger is 4,184.
Right, I don't know those numbers.
So all those things put together, if they can do it, we can do it.
Okay. Are you managing to dredging the Benue and the Niger if you become president?
Of course, the contract has already been going. Just that people have been collecting the money and going away.
Right.
Nobody will collect contract and go away under our government.
Okay. Let's see if we can. We have young audiences across 6 Nigerian universities, 6 locations, and I want to see if they are ready with their questions, starting with Bayero University, Kano. Hello, Bayero. Can you hear us?
Welcome to Kano State, Bayero University, Kano. My name is Silvio, and so we have been going close attention. We want to ask so many questions, but we have only 2 people who can ask the question. We have Esther Michael and let's start with Esther Michael.
Hello, good evening. My name is Esther Michael, 11.
Good evening. My name is Esther Michael, a level 300 student of Mass Communication, Bayero University, Kano. Well, my question goes thus. The Nigerian power sector has been privatized, and yet the Nigerian government keeps spending billions of naira to private enterprise in form of support. Now, it is apparent that the power sector is not working as we keep having system collapse every now and then. Now, I would like you to tell us, what would you do differently to make the Nigerian power sector work again? Thank you very much.
Yes, and we have Rahman Adeza, who has a question to ask Mr. Obi.
Good evening, Mr. Obi. I am Rahman Adeza from Mass Communication Level 4 student. Sir, do you believe in Biafran self-determination agitation? In a simple answer, yes or no. Also, what is your idea of federalism and restructuring? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Yes, we'll ask questions. Thank you very much and have a lovely evening.
Thank you very much. Kano, do we have another university ready, or do we deal with these questions first? Okay. We'll go with the questions first, starting first with power sector, privatization, etc.
I don't want to go into whether the privatization was
Dodgy.
done well with an issue with it. I don't have an eye on the past, and I've maintained that we're going to look forward. I'm not going to waste everybody's time going to yesterday. Yesterday is gone. I'm going to go tomorrow. First, that you can deal with the power issue as extensively as possible. One, today we have installed capacity of about 12,500. But because of not having the transmission infrastructure to deliver that, and we have a distribution infrastructure to distribute that. First is to ensure as quickly as possible that you have transmission infrastructure and distribution infrastructure to be able to transmit and distribute a stored capacity of about 12,500. And then
centralized transmission still like we have
I said I
now.
will decentralize it.
We decentralize,
I
right?
said I will decentralize it.
Okay.
That's why I said have infrastructure to deal with that as quickly as possible.
Okay.
In doing
Have you
that,
done the numbers?
numbers of
The cost?
you've forgotten that all over the place, happening to Egypt and everywhere.
Because on average, 1 kilometer of a transmission line costs about 1 million USD.
Let me tell you, the amount of money we're wasting can deliver all those things. I've done all the numbers. You know, Kadariah, this country has borrowed, in the past 8 years, we borrowed nearly $100 billion. 10% of that would have put us out of delivered power. So, I've done the numbers very well. The only thing I can do is numbers. So I've done it very well.
Okay.
The rest assured. What I'm saying is that you deal with that. As you're dealing with that, as supporting those who are in generation today, providing a regulating environment and support their business, giving them access to finance to support their business because their business is troubled.
But we know they've had access to finance before in form of loans, in form of grants from CBN.
Let me tell you. I said, give them access to finance. Believe me, we didn't do all these things that.
They one of the things they say they want is increase in tariff. Will you allow it?
Of course, the increase in tariff. Everywhere you go in the world, there's different tariffs for different areas. You can't charge people in Ikoyi the same as people in Ajegule. I will charge those who have to pay it, who have the resources to pay it. They'll pay it. And I'll reduce the price for those who don't have. So those who are low income, you can subsidize. Those who have high income, they will pay the appropriate thing. And they are the ones consuming more. If you go to the average house in Ikoyi, they have all sorts of things, different fridge in their bedroom and everything. In Ajegun, they have only one fridge in one. So I subsidize their own, charge the people in Ikoyi appropriately. It's simple, because they can afford to pay. Is that what we are talking about, fuel subsidy? Everybody is paying subsidy. When there's people who have 12 cars here, and the people in my village who don't have any car, they're paying for subsidy. So we want to charge people appropriately based on their where we can make money from it. For that delivering power, we will deal decisively with it. South Africa declared emergency power when they are generating 50,000. And we are generating 5,000. We declare war.
You declare war on power.
War on power.
What
what
does war look like on power in practical terms? Is that more money? Okay.
We are going to allow people, we are going to say anybody can generate up to 100 megawatts without license. Anybody who can generate power, if you can do 1 megawatt in your generating, anything you can do to have power, we will support you. We will give you all the support you need.
No caveat, or there will be caveats and regulation and.
Or there will be regulation, but the regulation will not be where it's impeded by all the restrictions, tax, supervision. There will be proper supervision, there will be proper details, but we're not going to waste your time by various taxes, mortgages, and everything. If you want to start today, we'll make sure that by tomorrow you're on and going, and we will support you.
And
For example, I give you, if you go to Aba,
yeah.
we have a facility that has been up and running there for almost 15 years. I will put everything possible, including ensuring that all taxes, levies, everything is removed immediately. I want to see power.
Let me turn to you. Thank you.
And then,
Yes, on there's a second question that was asked, and I actually think maybe you are the one that should try and answer it. What is your position regarding the agitation for the state of Biafra and people's right to self-determination?
Can you allow Mr. President to answer?
Choose.
No, I will tell you said it.
His answer will make more sense.
I've said it. He said it. My young, because at this stage, I haven't had 2 graduates. I'll call the person who asked the question, a son.
Yes.
I have 2 graduates at home. Let me tell you, when it comes to the issue of agitation, it's not yes or no. People agitate everywhere, even in my house. You know? So when the first thing you do with an agitator is to sit down and listen to the person who is agitating. Unless you sit down, you cannot say yes or no. I'm a Nigerian. I'm contesting the election as a Nigerian. I'm not contesting as from any other place. I'm a Nigerian. I believe in Nigeria. I believe in the unity of Nigeria. And I believe that I'm going to bring all agitators back to Nigeria and make it work for them. Because the reason why they are agitating is injustice. When you provide justice, equity, and create a level playing field, where people fight whatever, there will be agitation. So there was agitation. Don't forget, there was agitation yesterday in America.
Yes.
Before. Don't think America is like this. There was agitation before. There was agitation before in Brazil. I can show you countries where there's so much agitation. But when level playing field were created, where people had work, talent, much of the opportunity, all these things will go.
Okay. So
Just wait.
he wants to ask something.
I allowed my principal to answer this question because we have nothing to hide. When I joined this, his ticket, and just before I joined it, I faced a great deal of resistance and afterwards a great deal of difficulty, all centered around this. He is the best person to answer, and he has told you clearly, I allowed him because there is absolutely nothing to hide about agitation or about his candidacy, about where he comes
Let's
from.
go a little bit into devolution, restructuring, which is another debate and things that are sort of in the public domain. We have conversations. So, do you believe in restructuring? And if you do, what does it mean to you? Because it means different things to different people.
When you talk about restructuring, talking about issue of constitutionality, dealing with the constitution, restructuring the country is a constitutional matter which has to be dealt with every day. Our government will be by consent. People need to sit down and decide this is the way we should go. It is not just
So national conference again? Or?
no, there's enough documents already. There's enough conversation already. Now we can bring up and look at it and say all this. You know why people are talking about?
Consent was through National Assembly? I'm trying to understand the
Of course,
mechanism.
for you to restructure Nigeria today, it was do so to National Assembly.
Right.
And in doing that, you need to come out with a convincing argument, which I can tell you about. If you take issue of security, there's no reason why we should not have local government,
State police.
and national police.
Okay.
It is a part of restructuring. We're talking about, you know, at times why people are talking about issue of restructuring, and it looks as if it's something difficult. It's because we are a consuming state which exists in this sharing formula, which we already say we remove and put production formula.
Production formula. We'll talk about production formula after we've spoken to the University of Ibadan.
Thank you.
Nero, I hear you're on standby.
Yes, we are on standby here at the University of Ibadan, Oyo State. My name is Nero Adesona. We have 2 of the students here ready to ask questions. First up, we'll start with Samuel. Samuel, let's have your question.
Good evening, Mr. Obi. I am Samuel Adebola by name, a final student of the Department of Geography from University of Ibadan. So my question goes first. Nigeria is still over-dependent on oil, yet we have enormous deposit of other natural resources that can pump money into our economy. So in diversifying the economy of Nigeria, Do you have any plans on reviving the Ajaokuta Steel Company? If yes, how? This is because the steel industry is the bedrock of any industrialized nation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay, that's coming from Samuel. We have another question coming from Temitope, who is also right here as well. Temitope.
Good evening, Mr. Peter and Dr. Datti. My name is Temitope Shola, a startup founder, also from the University of Ibadan. Having promised to make Nigeria a producing country, what roles would startup and SMEs play in growing the economy under your administration? And clearly state what your plans are for budding entrepreneurs in the country. Thank you very much.
Okay, those are the two questions from the University of Ibadan this evening. I want to say thank you very much for giving us the opportunity as well.
Thank you very much. Over to you.
Well, the first question is about the dependent on oil and diversifying the economy.
Nigeria still.
Yes, and Jakarta still. Let me correct one thing people make a mistake about. Nigerian economy is well diversified, except that it's not productive. Because the oil people are talking about today, go and check our GDP. Oil contributes less than 10% of our GDP. However, oil is
50% of government.
No, 50% of government revenue and about 80% of our foreign exchange revenue, because we have not made the other area productive. For example, oil agriculture contributes about 21% of the GDP when oil is doing less than 10%. But we allow that oil because we are not a productive economy. In doing that, and it talks about other natural resources. That is also going back. Yes, we have natural resources, but it's then going back to the same, going back to the same extractive industry, which to me is the diminishing asset. Mm-hmm. We want to go to intellectual production. That's fourth industrial revolution, which is now brain. That is what we need to, and we need that. When I told you about Vietnam export, I said it's less than 10% natural resource. Electronics is 60-something percent. They are doing 60 billion. If they do clothing, 32 billion. Footwear, they are doing more in footwear almost than we're doing in oil. So agriculture. So let me give you an example of what I use every day. Netherlands, our total export I told is under 30 billion. Netherlands is 33,000 square kilometers. The agricultural export last year is 103 billion euros, $120 billion. When United States, where we have 7 local governments occupied by bandits, is 76.3 thousand square, 2.5 times Netherlands. We move this country from consumption to production by investing first in agriculture to feed ourselves and export.
Okay, so this sounds all really amazing and fantastic, but I have a question about the immediacy and the urgency of some of the issues that are facing us. I can see how over a year or 2 years you can begin to do some of these things. If I think in terms of setting up, agricultural places, getting people educated to produce shoes, all of that, these things take time. In the sense of the immediate issues facing us, as we speak today, people are getting kidnapped. As we speak today, farmers are paying ransom in order to go and farm, and some are not even farming. I told
you that our priority is to secure the country.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that and the how.
No, I'm not going to tell you how.
Why?
I can't tell you how I'm going to catch them. How can I tell you how? Now, for this stage, if I tell you they won't be dead and they'll find another route. So I'm not, all I said that we are going to be, told me, Kadariah, I and Datti Ahmed will be in charge.
Okay.
I'm going to be commander-in-chief. I'm going to be in charge I will make security a priority, and the security we are going to put in place will be responsive and responsible.
Okay.
So if you are not delivering, whoever is in charge.
Two things that come up when you say that. As far as I know, and I can't say I know everything, it's possible I'm wrong, right? As far as I know, none of you has any experience of dealing with the sort of insecurity that Nigeria is facing now.
Absolutely untrue.
Okay,
No,
I said maybe I'm wrong.
He's a military man.
I said maybe I'm wrong. So as far as I know, so if I'm wrong, you tell me I'm wrong.
Can I just say something?
Yes.
The moment you have the people in power not stealing your money, you're already getting richer. The moment they announce a government who are not complicit in bringing insecurity to your country, you are already defeating insurgency and banditry. The moment they announce a group of people who mean business and who know business,
can you pause a little?
Your economy is already fixing itself.
Dr. Ahmed, just pause for me a little.
All right.
You made a statement that is very heavy, very serious, because we're having a national conversation watched by millions. You talked about a government that is complicit in bringing insecurity.
Yes.
Implying that you believe that there are people in government, or that this particular government.
Kadariah, you can never tie me down. You can never put me in trouble.
I'm asking you to clarify. I'm asking you to clarify what you said.
Yes.
You said it. I didn't say it.
And let me repeat. The moment you have a government in place that is not complicit in bringing insecurity to your country, you are already defeating banditry.
And you want to expand on that?
The moment we say it, the goalposts change.
Okay. Because if I talk now, they will say it's because I'm anti. Meanwhile, I am a people's. I have to ask the question. That's my question.
A lot has happened.
Yes.
To Nigeria. Nigeria is a very, very peaceful country.
Used to be.
No, it still is a very peaceful country, because if despite all the evils that have happened to Nigeria, we are still managing to keep the numbers so low, I think Nigerians by nature are peaceful.
Okay. So you won't tell us how you will solve insecurity because you believe you'll be giving away your secret.
Let me give you one of the examples.
Okay.
Kadariah,
you really like my name, Sha.
If you start pulling people out of poverty, you start reducing criminality. It is number one thing with Brazil, Mexico. I can call countries back of countries where I live. And Southeast Asia have used to fight insecurity.
Right. So, I mean, the reason why I'm kind of looking at my phone is I'm looking at the
number to deal with. There were two questions, but I haven't finished the question.
The second question was,
I didn't even get the issue of, they were talking about the issue about Jupiter Steel and everything.
Yes.
All those projects will be looked into their viability.
What are you doing differently from this government? Because this government does have a steel program. And Ajakuta is being discussed while another steel plant has, in the process of being built. What are you going to do differently?
I don't want to say anything we're going to do differently, but we're different people.
Okay.
That's what I believe. Okay. If you believe that two of us are well creators, we're not well shared. We didn't benefit from what is being shared. We created wealth. I created wealth. I built people. Both in private and as a public person, all corporations that are successful,
as governor of Anambra State,
yes,
when you left office,
yes,
your IGR was 500 million a month. Really, Obianu came, and within months, that IGR had become 1.2, 1.3 million, seemingly able to outperform you. So sometimes when people hear you say,
can I tell you one? You see, people don't look at the foundation. I built the process that made it possible. It couldn't have been 1 month, 2 people. Let me tell you, go and check. Go and check. No, wait till I built the IGR building, computerized it,
Right.
did everything. So when people say somebody came yesterday and it's very working, look at the foundation.
Okay.
It was me who laid the foundation. You know, I made it to work. He didn't print money. Let me not say what happened thereafter. But so I did that foundation.
We're going to have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we go to our other remote.
SME.
We will pick it up after. I haven't forgotten. We'll pick it up. Don't go away.
Kadariah Media, in association with Kadariah Entertainment, presents The Candidate, a presidential town hall meeting series where the presidential candidates of the 6 leading political parties tell us about their plans for the country. Join Kadariah Ahmed as he leads us into the world of these candidates from the 17th to the 23rd of November 2022. This very important program will be streamed on FRCN, Radio Now, DSTV, NTA, Facebook, YouTube, and more. This is a town hall meeting you shouldn't miss. Tune in. Let's hear from the candidates.
Choosing where to study is one of the biggest decisions you will make in life. So, it is important to get it right. At Coal City University in Enugu, Nigeria, we pride ourselves on providing students a stable academic calendar and education of international standards. Coal City University gives students incredible personal attention and support. You can enroll in our regular programs and obtain a degree exclusively awarded by Coal City University. Alternatively, you can enroll in our international pathway programs, which will enable you earn 2 degrees in 4 years from Coal City University and Delaware State University, United States. Visit www.ccu.edu.ng. Coal City University, education for self-actualization.
Welcome back. You are watching The Candidate, a Kadariah Media Town Hall series brought to you with the support of the MacArthur Foundation and in partnership with Nigerian Television Authority, Kabal Entertainment, Network Service of Radio Nigeria, Emmanuel Tapo, Citizen Zikoku, Silverbird Television, Plus TV, News Central, and J&J Television. Now let's go to the audience and get a few questions from them. And before we do, I kind of like that you're all here and you're engaged, you're exciting, but if we could keep the noise a little bit down because it is interrupting a very important conversation. I'm sure you all want people at home to hear him clearly and for me to be able to allow him to finish answering his question. I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. There's a lady in blue in front and the lady next to her, and then we can go to the back after that. Let's have a few ladies, please. We've not had women speak. We're supposed to have 2 microphones. So where are they? Can you guys move and hand them? She's in front. Please. We will make our way to the back. Let's start with the ladies because we've not had a woman talk. Thank you, ma'am.
Do I have to stand up?
You can sit.
Thank you. Good evening, gentlemen. So I have 3 questions.
They better be fast.
Yes, my name is Ireti Bakari. My first question is to do with SMEs. I'd like to know, most SMEs complain about self-taxation. Do you intend to eradicate that? If so, would you be able to afford to? Stealth. So there's taxes that are hidden. Stealth, hidden. So triple taxing, that's number 1. Number 2, if you were, and this is hypothetical, but if you were president today, would you sack the CBN governor? Yeah. Number 3. Once you become president, Are you willing, bold, and brave enough to imprison those found guilty of corruption, including the current president, if he's found guilty?
Thank you.
Good day, everyone. My name is Priscilla Amadi. I'm still going to add something about SMEs because I'm particularly happy about the fact that the President is very interested in moving the country from consumption to production. According to the Nigerian Bureau of Statistics, SMEs in Nigeria have contributed about 48% of the national GDP in the last 5 years. With a total number of about 17.4 million, they account for about 50% of industrial jobs and nearly 90% of the manufacturing sector. Now, Mr. Peter, how would you be able to further empower this sector? Because even though they contribute well to the economy, they still face massive challenges, especially in various sectors, including
really
lack of
important
skilled
that people
manpower.
keep their questions short. There's
Yes,
a lot
I
of
will.
people who want to ask, and we still have people in Nigerian universities. And if people have asked the same question, please don't repeat
It
it.
isn't the same. I was coming to the part of empowering the SMEs because they are really facing a lot of challenges. Mr. Peter, what would you do differently, sir?
Thank you. Please give the 3-4 people at the back so many questions. Quick, and we need to be fast.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Santos. I'm from Human Capital Africa, and I'm going to education. You've spoken a lot about education, Mr. Peter. And we're in a region where 9 out of 10 children at the age of 10 can't read with meaning. And foundational learning, it's almost zero. We also are in a region where the Dakar Pact has said that you spend 15 to 20% of your national budget on education. Nigeria spends around 5 to 6%. If you're elected president, how would you address this foundational literacy and numeracy?
Thank you very much. It's important to say that if you insist on prefacing your questions, we can't get everybody in. Your presidential candidate has all the context. He understands the play. So please, no more questions. We're going to the remote sites. Meduguri is on standby. We've got very limited time. We have to be disciplined. Yeah. Okay, no, let's take a few more from University of Meduguri, then we'll lump them all together. Yes, Meduguri, we can hear you.
Good evening, Nigeria. Welcome to University of Meduguri. We have 2 questions from the students here for the presidential candidates, starting with Abdul Salam. Abdul Salam.
Okay, thank you, sir. My name is Salam Ilyasu, and my question is, Mr. Obi, what can you do to convince a rural man who has been influenced by the existence of PDP and APC to vote for Labour Party? Thank you, sir.
Next, we have Sado Ella.
Good evening. My name is
Political allegiance. Yes, please carry on.
Good evening. My name is Sado Banya from the University of Meduguri. Nigeria has been designated as one of the poverty capitals of the world. I want to know what the presidential candidate and his deputy plan, what's their plan to reduce the rate of poverty in the country, and also what strategies will they employ to bridge the gap between low-income earners and the middle class? Thank you.
Okay, so just to also say, thank you very much, Meduguri. Can people please try not to repeat questions? We've got very limited time, and it's important that we give them an opportunity to talk about as many things as possible. So if someone has already asked a question, please don't repeat it. Okay, Saz. Let's come back to you.
Well, let me start from issue of Meduguri, because I'm sure there's a long way to ask this. He says, what are you going to do, if I understand the first question, to make people to move away from PDP and APC to Labour Party? I think it's very simple. They drove us at this junction. If you have a driver that has driven a vehicle where you've come to a point where the vehicle have an engine problem, the vehicle can no longer move, they're not going to allow the same driver to continue.
But, Mr. Obi,
you want to fix this vehicle?
But you wear that vehicle. Just as early as 2019, you were in PDP. It was the PDP.
No, 1 minute. No. Let me tell you.
ANPP.
Let me tell you. Moses lived in Egypt.
Okay.
So was Joseph. The one part of it, God comes and chooses from within. He's not going to create new people. From within those who are there already. And say these people, that's the situation. So it didn't create new people. It didn't create new creators. It is from the same people that he said, so I'm picking this one.
This is not old wine, just packaged new bottles.
No, this is new wine. But we have been existing with the old wine because they are not very good. But they found out that we cannot continue living with this. Like you live in an environment where you find out that this environment, you're not part of it. All the first-class leaders that we have all over the world, we are part of the same society. But they decided we can no longer live this way. Even discoveries with all the people who have done it everywhere, it is people challenging the...
Let's not say people will say you are status quo. Let's move on.
People out of poverty.
Yes.
I got the question.
And will you sack CBN governor?
No, I'm going to come to that.
Okay.
You know, pulling people out of the poverty is what we are preaching when we are saying from. See, when you want to change the society, because majority of the people, including yourself, live off the old order, they don't see the future. That's why they say leader must be a visionary. When I went to Anambra State, let me give you an example. When I went to Anambra State and said to people, our education cannot continue to be at 26. We're going to change our education. We're going to change this. They say, no, you can't do this because we don't see it. You know, when you were talking about me being impeached in production, you forgot that when I challenged my election, people say it's impossible to come through the court. When I was impeached, people say it's impossible to come back. And later, when I challenged interpretation of tenure of governor, they say it's impossible. So people are not seeing that. We are creators. We see in the future. And I can tell you.
Let me just clarify. We are not saying you don't have a vision.
Let me tell you.
What we want to see is understanding the roadmap to that vision.
I want to tell you the how. People are here about MSMEs. Micro, small businesses is the foundation of every economy. Even in the South, in the West. In the West.
Globally.
The two, let me use what we can call a developing and those who are starting, to give you an example. I'm going to use big countries like China, Indonesia, and Vietnam. These three, to give you an example. In China, MSMEs controls 60% of the production, 60% of the export, about 60% of the employment, and they contribute 50% of the revenue.
So how is that going to happen here?
Thank you. First is that you must articulate a proper agenda like China. In China today, if you look at the overall banking lending in China, about 20% to 25% of the lending is dedicated to MSME. In Indonesia, there's a ministry for MSMEs because they control 90% of the employment. So is we in Vietnam. In Nigeria, about, I think it's over 30 trillion lending today and everything. MSMEs control less than 5%.
So how are you going to encourage banks, which are private enterprises, to give loans to SMEs? Because this is the answer we're looking for.
Listen, I'm coming from that side.
Okay.
Don't forget.
I know. That's what I'm asking.
My life is about finance. That's what I've done all my life. It's It's a combination of two main things. You have to have a physical and monetary policies channel on the government grants.
Anchor farmer borrow programs?
No, yes, but done differently. Not announced in Abuja, but dealing with the bank of industry and going to deal with the people, the farmer. Because when you have now that good programs announced on TV, but poorly implemented. The people don't do what is expected here, they do what is expected. I will be there with the farmers. I'll be there with the people. I'll supply it directly and I'll get it done.
Kadariah,
yes.
Can I just comment?
Yes, please.
Mr. President, our candidates told us that corruption kills hard work, enterprise, and innovation. There is a certain disequilibrium in our system. You see, necessity is the mother of innovation. We need to innovate, force people to leave the present preoccupation, which is government contract, and go into SMEs. So we have to do it by force.
Okay.
That is what I need you to see. Now, let me
when
answer you.
Elsa has finished talking...
Hold on, let me just answer
Okay,
you.
just finish this. Okay, go on.
Yes. If anybody can get a government acquaintance, gatekeeper, or influencer in government, such people will never go into enterprise. Here is a government coming into place to say that there is no more easy money. That 90%, 9 times 900% profit you used to make is no longer there. That money belongs to all Nigerians. That is what we are going to do that is different. When Nigerians realize that they can't go and rely on their relatives in government to make easy money, they have to go into industrialization.
And I will ask you again when we come back. When you go by Elsa on the line.
One sentence. Let me give you one sentence what he's saying.
All right.
Which we've always discussed everywhere. We must stop people wealth without enterprise.
Thank you.
All wealth must come with enterprise.
Okay. And again, I will come back to the how after we have spoken to Bielsa. Hello, Bielsa.
Good evening, Kadariah. Welcome to Bielsa State. My name is Victor Pinawari, and we have two people that will be asking questions from this station. I would like to move to Emmanuel quickly. Emmanuel, please step forward and ask your question.
Interesting.
Okay, well, we can't hear you. We seem to have audio problems. So I think maybe if we go back to the questions around political, yes, CBN governor and political allegiance.
Let me tell you.
And, are you back, Bielsa? Okay. Okay.
Are leaving the country to Europe and other parts of the world. Doctors are leaving and our best brains are leaving. If you become the president of Nigeria, how will you reverse this trend of mass exodus of our people? How will you make Nigeria acceptable and livable for its people? Also, if you become the president of this country, by which constitution will you operate in this country? If you are to operate with the illegitimate 1999 constitution, why will you do that? Thank you. Okay, quickly we'll move to Honorable Elliot for his question.
Good evening, Mr. Peter Obi and his wife. I am Augustus Elliot Osomo, a former legislator from Bayelsa State. Should you become the president of this country, how would you solve the problem of environmental pollution in the Niger Delta region, where the wealth of this nation comes from? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Bielsa. And because we're running out of time, I'm going to Enugu. before we come back to Mr. Obi and Dr. Baba Ahmed. Enugu, can you hear us? Okay, well, Enugu doesn't seem to be ready, so we'll go back to the answers to this question.
Well, the issue of stacking of CBN government.
Yes.
Here, Enugu.
Ah, right, okay. I'm sorry. All right, we can hear you.
From Enugu, I am Informer Ajumobi. Got two questions. Blessing and Valentine have some questions and they would address it to the candidate. Valentine, please, let's hear you.
My name is Valentine Belago I'm greetings from Enugu. Please, my first question is, you have spoken a lot about improving the agricultural production in the north. But please, how would you achieve this, given that there is a very high amount of banditry in the recent years? And my second question is that, if you're elected, how would you curb or put reforms to stop other criminal activities in the country, such as the unknown gunmen in the east and the kidnappings around the entire nation? Thank you.
We have Blessing on standby as well for her question. Blessing.
Good evening from Enugu. My name is Blessing Chimeze. Sir, if elected the president of Nigeria, you said you will remove subsidy. So I want to know, how do you intend to manage the effects of subsidy removal on the masses, particularly? Because this will result to the increase of the cost of fuel and also to the increase of commodities in the market. Thank you.
That's the much we have from Enugu. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And if you could treat this almost like a rapid fire round.
Talking of CBN governor, it depends on the reason. He can't just get up and sack CBN governor.
Are you happy with his performance now?
Well, I'm not. I didn't appoint this one.
But you are going to, if you become president, you will inherit him.
No. Don't worry what have happened then. When I become, and I will deal with that matter, then you have only 1 year to go. So don't worry, I'm not going to sack him. I saw you, it depends on what is happening then.
Right.
On issue of fighting corruption, my position is known. I'm not going to fight corruption by being vindictive. We're going to make sure that the proper investigation and everything. We're not going to criminalize the country the way it's being done now, where they're running after people up and down. If you don't like somebody's case, you just nickname them. No. We will operate by the rule of law. Will you do that? Law and order.
I will ask you this question.
There's a proper investigation, there's a proper thing. Where will even negotiate, I'll negotiate.
That's what I'm asking, because we keep referring to Indonesia.
What I need is money to come back. So I need it to work. If you put people in jail and they take away the money, what are we going to do? With other countries of the world who have done it better, and I've learned from them. If it means
we already have a law here, the whistleblower laws, the laws that
I'm not going to go back.
Okay.
I'm going to put a new law from the day I start. Right. If we take money, this is what is going to happen. But nobody will take, because I'm sure they will know that if I'm not taking, you shouldn't take. But
the law,
going back
as president,
I'm going to go back in an organized manner. I'm not going to go and be going around all over the place.
Okay, but because you refer to, you will make laws. Laws are made by the National Assembly.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going to go to the National Assembly and say, this is the law for corruption. And this is how we intend to implement.
And if they refuse to sign it?
No, they say we do. No, don't worry. I'm not with it now in Anambra State. Go and see. No money was missing in Anambra State. If it was missing, Kadariah, it is not easy for somebody to leave an office where nobody is asking you and you left $150 million.
According to the person who came after you, you left dead. That argument has been going back. He said you had contractors to pay and you didn't pay them.
Listen very well. Up to today,
I'm quoting the Sun interview by Mr. Willie Obiano.
Listen very careful. Listen to me. Up to today, I've said this, and let me say it now in this town hall meeting. The day I left office, I was not only one contractor who who have executed his job certificate issue, let that one come. I'm not only one supplier who has delivered what we ordered and we're owing the person. I'm not owing civil servant, salary, pension, gratuity. If any of them come out today, I will stop.
Okay, so let me ask for clarity. Let me ask for clarity.
It is a investment thing if I award a contract for 9-kilometer road. Somebody build 1 kilometer and I pay him.
Yes, no.
Because I will only pay for what I received.
So the allegation he made was that just before you left office, you gave out a lot of contracts.
No,
and we had to deal with paying for those contracts.
Leave allegation.
Okay, I'll leave allegation.
Issue that is real. Let me tell you how government work. If, for example, let the government, outgoing government of Buhari award all the road.
When you come, you will pay.
No, when I come, the one you do, you pay. Another person will come, do his own and pay. That's why you can't, nobody finishes everything. That's why I say that the one I've not done, let other people complete it.
There was a question about the constitution that was described as illegitimate and how, whether you will work with it.
There's a lot of
questions.
There's a lot of questions which we need to quickly deal with.
We still have to deal with
somebody with issue. So, issue of brain drain.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, everywhere in the world where there's been a brain drain, actually, if they do the right thing, you know what will happen? All those brain drain, I tell them, they will be brain gain. Because they'll be the first investors to come back when I and Datti start turning around here. They will come back with their investment. The first foreign investor you attract in any country is people who have left from your system, who have made money abroad. When they now see opportunity here, they will come back. Like I always say, when people go but that's not remittances, I said we double it. How are we going to double it? When we produce a conducive environment for them to bring more money. Today they are remitting only 5% of their income. They will remit 10 to 20. But they start coming back to invest here. It is more conducive. They start coming back for holidays and everything. And we will do that. So brain drain will be brain gain in the future. Watch it happen. The issue of the constitution is neither here nor there. What am I saying? Any constitution, don't forget that a country like Britain doesn't have a written constitution. Any constitution is prone to amendment. That's what we're talking about, restructuring. We will sit down and come out. Don't call it a fraudulent constitution. We haven't even implemented that the fraudulent one justly. So let's start with it, and then we will amend it in order or restructure it as we agreed. It's a government of consensus. We're not going to govern by military mind. It is we have to sit down with everybody, agree to what we're going to do, and everything.
Yes.
SMS by stealth. The stealth taxes of the SMSs.
I've said that the engine of growth is MSME. That was answering when we got in. I told you, SME, MSMEs is the engine in which we're going to develop the place. By putting money, supporting our youth, the greatest asset of this country today, physical human asset, is our youth. With energy and talent. What they need is for us to put money into them. If we put money into them today, when we talk about anything, whether it's agriculture or this, like I said, remove corruption. What is the money? Corruption is entrepreneurship. You get these young ones to be able to be supported, discipline and everything. Let me give you just a closing, because I'm sure you say,
well, we still have a few remote sites as well. So, yeah.
Let me Lumeni Foundation say that for every young person they gave $5,000 every year. They found out a year or so after, the person is employing 20%. Okay? Pastor, this country have borrowed the past 50 years about $100 billion. decided to use 10 billion to share it among them.
Okay.
Can you do the number?
I am trying
This
to.
is phenomenal.
Yeah, but the thing is, Mr. Obi, part of the times like when we sort of talk to you, why I sometimes get a little bit, is that we hear about what's happening in other places.
And I'll give you an example. 1 minute, I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
Let me give you an example.
Yes, okay.
Go and ask Evelyn Oputu, still alive. I want the church is about solving. We all go there to pray for God to solve our problem. Part of it is we will pray and God will solve the problem and come into. I went to our office on Sunday. I said, Anambra State wants to partner with Bank of Industry, where we will invest 50% of what we're going to bring. You bring 50% and you lend money to MSMEs in Anambra State. Well, is that?
And what's the result of that intervention?
Yeah, the result is for you to go and look. You know, people have said,
they are Nigerians that can't go to Anambra. You have to tell them.
In 2014, when I left office, go and check. In terms of poverty, lowest place we have poverty, Anambra is number 3 with 11.2%.
Okay.
People, I've heard people even say they don't know. 11.2. After Lagos, it's not that state, it's Anambra.
It's Anambra.
Go and check.
Thank you very much. We need to go to Abuja quickly. We're running out of time and I don't want people who've taken the trouble to sit down. Oh, where are we going? The social media questions are not ready. Is Abuja ready? Okay. All right. So we'll carry on talking. Let me,
Okay,
yes,
can I
you want
just
to say
add two
something?
things? Regarding the Nigerian news flowing out of Nigeria,
Yeah.
I say that it is better to have brain drain than to have a brain in the drain. It is necessary to protect the future of our youth by allowing them to go and get the careers they can get elsewhere and otherwise they could not have been able to get here. That is when His Excellency said that, and that can be followed by brain gain. Then the other issue I want to add here is that why buy fuel cheap and buy security expensively? This has to do with the removal of subsidy. People are simply looking at the price of refined petroleum product. You buy it cheap and then you buy security more expensive. Does that make sense? And what we're saying is that there is a way to reform governance at the same time reshaping industries and businesses. So if you remove what is in subsidy and solve the problem of security, security is cheaper. You cannot put a naira figure to it.
Okay. So, I mean, we keep talking about subsidy and
this is by far a better gain, trade-off to make. It's more sensible. It touches the entire society. Who has a car, who doesn't have a car, consuming security. But,
I hear you, but if I could ask,
yes,
you know, for a sort of a more broadened conversation around energy.
Yes.
And energy security and diversification and the fact that increasingly very soon our oil is actually going to be worthless because, you know, the rest of the world is moving and looking at doing clean energy and all sorts of things. And I'm just sitting here and I'm wondering whether you guys have put together a policy that is in tandem with the realities of today and tomorrow and what is being projected to happen, because even the petrol, even if we now go back to, let's say, full production, within a very short period of time, our oil is no longer going to be valuable. Maybe to us, right? But not to the rest of the world. And so I'm listening, I'm thinking, okay, where is the sort of the forward thinking, the ideas? You are talking in generalities, specific.
It's in generality. I told you that it's a simple thing. People invest in key development areas, which is, if you talk about HDI, you talk about HDI, what is the HDI?
Right.
Health, education,
yes,
and per capita,
okay,
which is pulling people out of poverty.
Yes.
The question you ask is,
how are you delivering health, for example?
As governor, what did I do to these three?
Yeah, if I remember correctly, doctors were on strike during your time for about 11 months.
You see, even teachers were on strike. So not only doctors. And when they go to strike, but when you bring a change, all those who live up the old order will go on strike.
Okay.
Nigeria will go on strike.
Let's be
because let me tell you, all these people who are living up the old order are going to protest.
Okay. You realize I keep trying to get us to go to the granular level, and we keep talking about generalities. Right.
When I became
governor, for example, let me ask specific questions. At the moment, you talk about human capital.
When I became governor, we decided we were going to deal with health.
Yes.
We found out we didn't even have human infrastructure needed for primary care. No single school of nursing, midwifery, health technology, everything was accredited in the entire state. And I want to stop and verify. I said, listen, we're going to deal with it. They came with all sorts of plan. I said, no, we are going to partner with agencies that are dealing with it already. We have Church of Nigeria. They have School of Nursing, School of Midwifery, all this in a hospital called EM. We have other facilities owned by these churches and government agencies. So where are you going to put money doing a new one? Because you're talking about strike. Because if I put money down today, go to Anambra State, we have over a dozen combined School of Nursing, School of Midwifery, School of Health Technology, all functional. I built the fastest teaching hospital ever built in Federal Republic of Nigeria. Odumegwu Ojukwu Teaching Hospital today. He has built the biggest private hospital, teaching hospital in Nigeria today. I built the fastest as the governor. So I can go on and tell you what I did in health. Yes. In education, I don't need to only just yesterday. When the bishop said, Peter, we should be able to replicate what he did in education nationally. Where we move from number 26 to number 1. Besides, the only measure of development between the year 2000 and year 2015 is Millennium Development Goals.
Yes.
I started implementing it in year 2007. When it was concluded in year 2015, I was number 1 in this country. So, it is not a question of how. On top of all this that I said, I've said it where you say people are doubting. I've called the 3 banks where I left money. None of them have ever come and say, I didn't leave money. What you hear is that, not even the person that handed over say I didn't leave money. All you hear is that, this youth, this group, that group, I didn't hand over to a group, I handed over to somebody. And I want that person to come and say, I didn't see this money.
Okay. Let me quickly just ask you to deal a little bit the issue of health. Only 3% of Nigerians at the moment have any sort of proper health coverage. And the reason why I've been asking you to sort of go into this with a bit more detail is because I've seen bits and pieces of you talking about a plan
to deal with the issue of insurance.
I wanted to get a sense of what that means.
Issue of health insurance.
Okay.
That is what is done everywhere in the world. By getting everybody in that basket, you're going to get the big, the small, and everything. That is what you need to.
So private-driven healthcare through insurance.
Government has to contribute.
So government will pay for some of it.
Majorly because that's the only way those facilities can reach the poor. The government doesn't pay.
Government at the moment is struggling, and we're seeing that even our main resource, oil, is dwindling in value globally.
Listen, government is struggling because you're not doing the right things. You're not investing, you're borrowing money and throwing it away. You're borrowing money and people are stealing it. If you do the right thing, you create wealth. No government is stationary. You know, if other governments can do it, we can do it here. We're going to do the right things. Government is too much waste. We're going to curtail all the waste.
Okay, so there's a question here that I've been trying to get to because people have been sending things online. And how much priority are you willing to give foundational learning, primary school education, compared with other stages of education? I think somebody else asked.
Foundational learning is the key.
Right.
Is the first, is the critical thing. Remember what I told you, that 3 things is what you use to measure development. The more educated your people are, the more development they have.
Right.
Today, you cannot, your human capital is about 168.
Okay.
Very low.
I'm going to ask you to make your closing statement because unfortunately, despite our best efforts, we have not been able to even get through to Abuja. I'm sure they will be disappointed, and we're about to wrap. So essentially, if you could tell me what your unique selling point is, tell Nigerians in a nutshell, again, remind them why when February they go to the polls, they should vote for the 2 of you.
Okay. 2 of us have appealed to Nigerians. Next year's election should not be based on tribe. No tribe buys bread cheaper or have better rules and everything. It should not be based on religion. No religion buys bread cheaper or have been able to employ everything. It should not be based on my turn. It is turn of Nigerians to take back their country. We have promised we will secure and unite this country.
That's your promise.
We have promised we will ensure that we move Nigeria from consumption to production, start pulling people out of poverty. We will ensure we work the rule of law, deal with the issue of corruption, where we bring it to a minimal. We will problem for the front. We will be charged. And we will make Nigeria work where today we have a Nigeria, but we don't have Nigerians. We will create Nigerians. We will be proud of their country because we will be in charge. It will stop at our desk. We will work as a brother.
Today possible. We would also like to thank our other partners, Nigeria Television Authority, Federal Radio Corporation of Nigeria, Zikoko Citizen. I'm struggling to remember the partners. Trust TV, Silverbird TV, Kaftan TV, Injenje TV. Join us again tomorrow for the 5th and second to the last edition of The Candidates. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.